o'clock. It's take two. It's 4 o'clock. It's Wednesday, September 17th. And
Oh, it doesn't show. Oh, 1 second. Sorry, we have IT here to assist.
We know this isn't going to happen in our brand new conference room. Right?
What is it?
Here we go. Take three. It's 4 o'clock. It's Wednesday, September 17th, 2025. And this is the Palm Springs Airport Beach. Welcome, everybody. Glad you're all here. I'm going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Rick, would you all lead, please? Where is the flag?
Behind.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America
And
and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tanya, has the agenda been posted?
Yes, the agenda has been posted.
Oh, please.
Roll call Banks. For everybody on Zoom. Burke. Caldwell.
Here.
Corcoran.
Here.
Delgado. Evansteiner. And Bond.
Here.
Hedrick.
Here.
Keel.
Here.
Martin. McDermott.
She's out.
Park. Here. Sam Lanska.
Here.
Scheffler.
Here.
Valdez.
Here.
Boss.
Here.
Wiseman. Wise.
Here.
And Young.
Here.
Thank you. We have four.
Sounds good. Let's have a motion, please, to accept today's agenda. So moved.
Second.
Okay. Great. Margaret, second. Roll call, please.
We have. Caldwell.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Evansteiner.
Yes.
Bond.
Aye.
Hedrick.
Yeah.
Keel.
Aye.
Martin. McDermott. Hart. Yes. Sam Lanska.
Yes.
Scheffler.
Yes.
Valdez.
Yes.
Boss.
Yes.
Wise.
Yes.
And Young.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Kevin is on Zoom. Kevin Wiseman, you want to promote it, please? Ask him to sign it.
Yeah, it's actually. And Wiseman? Kevin? I think Mike is meeting. Oh, there.
Excellent.
You're here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Okay, are there any public comments tonight before we start this?
There are no scheduled speakers. Does anybody in the room wish to make a public comment? Anyone on Zoom, please raise your virtual Zoom hand. Nobody.
So we have to approve the minutes for the last couple meetings. So first is going to be a motion to approve the minutes for the meeting of June 18th. Second.
We have Caldwell,
Yes.
Corcoran,
Yes.
Bone,
Aye.
Hedrick,
Yes.
Keel. Hart,
Yes.
Sam Lanska,
Yes.
Scheffler,
Yes.
Valdez,
Yes.
Boss,
Yes.
Wiseman,
Yes.
Wise,
Yes.
and Young.
Passes. All right. Second is approving the meetings or excuse me, minutes for our July 16th meeting. Motion, please. So moved. That's it. Sounds good.
Caldwell,
Yes.
Corcoran,
Yes.
Fong.
Aye.
Hedrick,
Yes.
Keel. Park.
Yes.
Sam Lanska,
Yes.
Scheffler,
Yes.
Valdez,
Yes.
Boss,
Yes.
Wiseman,
Yes. Yes.
Wise,
Yes.
and yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
By the way,
All
this
right.
is Evans. Pardon me.
Oh.
Hello?
Evan Steiner, there you are.
There you are, you're here.
Yep.
Brian, we see you. All right, we have introductions.
Yes.
Christina, are you doing introductions today?
I am. Introductions today, yes.
Christina and Harry, go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chairman and Commissioners. I would like to introduce you to our new administrative assistant, Jasmine Torres, who joined the PSP team on September 2nd. And I will have Jasmine provide a quick background of her previous experience.
Hello, everybody. I come from the Alpha Phi Culture Museum. I was their administrative coordinator. So I have a lot of extensive experience in admin, operations, maintenance, accounting. So basically just kind of the running the background of an organization. So I'm really happy to be here and bring my skill, experience to the airport. And it's busy. It's very busy. Schedule. So but I'm really grateful to be here.
Thank you, Jasmine. Welcome.
And I have the privilege of introducing my new executive assistant, Ariana Guyano. Sorry, I screwed that up. I apologize for that. But I'll give her an opportunity to give color to her background. Before she does that, though, I want to thank Tanya. She stepped in for the last few months, and she's done a wonderful job of keeping the ship floating while we sought a new executive assistant.
Hello, everybody. It's a pleasure to meet you all. My name is Mariana Anguiano.
I'll get there.
And a little bit about my background. I came from Palm Springs Unified School District, was there 10 years. And before that, I worked for an electrophysiologist, which is the electrician of the heart. So lots of experience that has nothing to do with airport. As Jasmine said, very busy, lots of learning, but I'm excited to be a part of this team. Thank you.
Welcome. All right, big agenda tonight. Let's jump in. Item 8A, Airport Program Management Advisory Consulting Services. Harry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So first up is a recommendation for the council to recommend approval of the contract for the Airport Program Management and Advisory Consulting Services to the Pasley Group. The Pasley Group has a long history of working with airports to help define and execute on our capital programs. And we do have some representatives here, so I'll turn it over to Mr. Paul Blue, who's the Executive Vice President of Pasley Group, to provide a presentation, and then why we're recommending this contract. So,
Chair, Commission, thank you for the opportunity to be here today. And I would not exactly.
I promoted it, but I need to one more time. Did you get
Okay,
it?
he says my steps.
Thank
So if y'all would bear with me just a second, but as Harry said, the Pasley Group has been in this business of helping airports plan and manage complicated capital development programs for the last 19 years. And if I can make my computer work, we can start the presentation, and you can. I'll quit dancing here.
Let me try. If you're okay. Hopefully it's the correct presentation.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You can flip the next slide, please. So, yes, not much more comfortable than me trying to do two things at once. I appreciate it. By the dots you see, our firm has been at this for a couple decades. We have helped airport owners with about $44 billion of work, about 50 different engagements. What is unique about the Pasley Group is we're led by former owners. I was everything from chief bottle washer to airport director in Phoenix. Our founder came from DFW. We have staff, 5 or 6 leaders in the organization, all came from being an airport owner. And so we bring kind of a unique DNA. We have sat on the airport side of the table, not in the specific chair here in Palm Springs. You all have your own situation, but that's what we bring to the table. And all we do is airports. We don't work in anything else at this point, and it's our focus. And it's where we all come from. Next slide. Thanks. Thank you. So what do we do? I lead the program management practice. I'm an executive vice president for the company. We also do executive advising to the airport, the executive team. We work in concessions consulting, and then we help airport owners also monetize their non-aeronautical asset, make money out of excess land that we have. Next slide. This is a current listing of the airports where we're working right now. So we have about 11 airports we're in at the moment. I actually never added up this math, but I'd say about $15 or $16 billion of work currently ongoing across a range of large, medium, and small airports. Again, a diversity of program scales and improvements, but principally we're in kind of the helping airport owners build terminals, rental car facilities, runways, and the like. Next slide. So what is it that we propose in the solicitation process to do for you? So our approach is and we do this with every engagement, is come in and work with the owner to understand the owner's unique situation. We think the last program or best practices are deadlines. They may or may not have relevance to Palm Springs. It has to be a uniquely Palm Springs built plan for how to implement your program. Maybe best practices are 60% common between airports, but it's that last 40% that is the difference between on time and late, on budget and over budget, success and failure. So we think it's just essential that we work with you to come up with what is unique about you. What are your priorities, capabilities, constraints? We propose to bring one staff member to start and a planning team for about 90 days to build a plan. And that draft implementation plan will be about how you deliver the program. We don't deign to suggest we're going to come to town and tell you, well, here's how it should go. We really need to engage with your staff at the airport, city staff at the airport, with all the stakeholders in the organization to understand where the push me, pull me kind of points are in delivering the program that you have. And then we work to try to explore with the airport how best to organize their resources and identify if there's other resources that may be necessary. But again, key to us, this is not going to be the PASLI Group's implementation plan. This is Palm Springs implementation plan. It will be what it appropriately should be. Our goal is to help extend the capacity of the airport management team to be able to deliver the program, meanwhile recognizing they got an airport to run every single day. And then ultimately, this is really about collaboration with the city leadership, the aviation department staff, and other resources that you already have on board, whether the consulting or other departments of the city, stakeholders in the community, all are part of collaborating in the delivery. Next slide. And so this is kind of our standard game plan. This is our playbook for what we do. And so we work to help an owner sort out what is your unique situation, and then we talk about how do we develop the delivery method. And the delivery method is how you engage with a general contractor. Is it design, bid, build? Is it CM at risk? What is the technical delivery approach? And then we build an implementation plan, and that plan deals with probably 20, 30 topics, but it talks about how are you going to make decisions? How are you going to manage design and construction? How are you going to manage that you need to be an operating airport first and a construction site second? And then we work with you to define how do you want to manage the program with, and what is the engagement of kind of yours, mine, and others? What are the roles and leadership structure from airport staff? Where does consulting staff engage in that, and where are there gaps based on the implementation plan? We view the implementation plan like it's a work plan that says here are the steps, activities, policies that you're going to implement to deliver your program. The management structure then needs to match to that implementation plan. Next slide. And so at its bottom line, what is the Pasley Group focus on doing for airport owners? We're helping deliver development strategy focused on timely delivery and efficient delivery of your program. We bring across that $45 billion of work, we average most across all of those programs about 3 or 3.5 people per engagement. We only bring executives who have been there and done that to work on the program. They have done this kind of work before. This isn't their first time in the saddle, and they have experience. And what we're really trying to bring is experienced leadership. We ultimately want to help extend the capacity of the airport to coordinate the delivery of all of these projects. And we're a huge believer in you have to evaluate performance of the program itself across time, and the performance of the team members, including us. And so, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, that's my presentation. I was asked to be brief, so I'm happy to do so, and please answer any questions you may have.
Thanks for being here. Harry, just before we open up to the commission for questions, can you just give us a context? We have Ryan and his team who have done the long range plan. They continue to work with us.
Yes.
All right. So we have direction from that long range plan.
Yes.
Now Paul and his team come in, take that and run with it. Is that the intent? I was trying to get to see how everybody fits in.
I would say their role is to kind of embed with our team and help us with strategic decision making, making sure that we're analyzing everything, making the right decisions, and then relieving some of the burden where the airport staff simply cannot, manage certain issues. So think of it as staff augmentation at the strategic executive level to help execute on the program.
Got it. This is a competitive bid. So want to provide any color in terms of what you do in the decision to make this decision?
Absolutely. So scope was, we had a previous airport director who had run large capital programs in Phoenix help draft the scope for us, and really make sure that we had everything dialed in. Was run through a competitive process just like we do everything. We had, we say seven firms that submitted, and then we interviewed 4 of those firms in the end, and Pasley Group came out on top between the proposal itself and the interview. It was very clear that they kind of understood Palm Springs program, what we're trying to execute, our staff needs, the augmentation needs, and so that all factored into the decision making.
Got it. Overall costs, and what's this, the timeline on our relationship?
So it is a 5-year term. It is 7 million. I want to say 7.1 million.
The contract value is 7.1 million. However, it's a task order basis. So we budgeted right now this year $400,000, and then we're able to have funds appropriated by the council as needed should we need to add augmentation.
What budget does this come out of, Victoria?
So this will come out of the capital projects. So whenever we, whichever capital project we have going on, as we start to get each project, this will be included in those projects. However, for the time being, all of the administrative and pre-work that we're going to need, that's going to come out of the airport administration portion. So we did budget for that for this year. Even though the contract says 7 million, it doesn't, I know that's a big number. But that is as we start to get those bigger projects, that's when we'll start including those. And those will go to city council. We're just saying Pasley Group is going to be the one that's going to be helping us program manage that as we get those bigger projects.
Questions? Other questions?
So will you be helping to advise the airport on whether to go with design build or private public partnership? Just doing it themselves on the financing?
Mr. Chair, yes, absolutely the case. It's part of our, Victoria, could you move back one slide, please? So that second box is about what you described are what we call delivery methods. And those, should be a customized selection that's matched to who you are and what you need and the nature of your program and the individual work to be performed. And it probably won't be just one delivery method. There will be options for multiple. But yes, we would help the airport move through a qualitative process to evaluate the best fit of delivery method to the project that is currently going to pursue execution.
Thank you. Please.
I noticed you mentioned airport in Albuquerque and some others. What kind of experience do you folks have advising airports that are surrounded by and can work with Indian tribes in terms of financing that we might be able to access, programs we might be able to access, things that would tie in between the Indian tribe and the airport and what we do here? Do you have any experience with that, or do your folks have any experience with that?
So I would tell you, I'm going to answer your question. I'm going to be direct. No, I have not worked with tribes. Not in this role in airports. I spent 28 years in Phoenix, so I worked with a number of Indian communities that were adjacent to the city of Phoenix, and so I have an extensive background in doing that. But as to the Pasley Group, what we do engage and help airport owners in is there is a diversity of funding sources that are not, as an example, we're doing work in the U.S. Virgin Islands at St. Thomas and St. Croix. There is a very diverse set of ways that airport's going to fund improvements. They do not all come through traditional airport revenue or federally funded efforts. They're having to go to unique alternative things because they don't have the immediate revenue available. And so we have worked with multiple jurisdictions at state and local and county levels, depending upon where the airport is and the circumstances of their local situation. That the disparate pieces of revenue, we've worked with lots of jurisdictions other than the airport's owner to bring resources to the table. So we've had experience in that.
Questions? In preparing to compete for this RFP, why did you think you're from this based on what you've learned in your research preparing? Do you have any and I realize you're still ready to go into the discovery process after this, but what in your research to pitch this deal, why did you think, were there certain things about our airport that you thought would make this a good fit? And is there any not conclusions, but understandings you've reached so far in doing the research on this airport?
So I would tell you it's a match two ways. It's both what we observed and thought was going to be necessary and important for you, and what is it that we thought we had that created a sufficient match. So I'm going to answer it potentially across two ways. The attributes we saw were an airport that's got some pretty complicated development issues that relate from historic preservation to a compact site that has a lot of interaction between different uses during construction, and quite frankly, a not clear path for delivery, which is to say, it hadn't built a lot recently. That is our stock in trade. We are, again, as former airport owners, we start with where's the airport owner at, and so I think that becomes a match for us. I think the second thing really relates to we have extensive experience. I wish to say there were greenfield airports in the United States. Those don't exist anymore, and so it's a lot of building on top of each other. And so we have had some very recent, current, complicated experience executing some of those things, and those are some of the attributes of what your airport's going to experience. And then this is a city-owned airport.
Excuse me. I'm so sorry. I just want to do an audio check online. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys just fine.
Yes, loud and clear.
Yes, pretty clear.
Because I have some people saying, I've had two people text me saying that they can't hear on their end. I don't know if it's our audio or if it's, potentially their audio. So I just want to double check. I'm sorry.
Yeah, for the most part, it's clear. It breaks up a little bit, but for the most part, I'm catching everything. Yeah, basically, if you're sitting at the table and speaking, it's pretty clear. But outside of that,
exactly.
They said the speaker's right here, right there. Maybe closed caption. Maybe we can try closed caption.
We're still fine tuning this room, so we'll all try to speak up, but keep pinging us if you don't remarks.
Yes,
Please.
sorry about the
Oh,
interruptions.
no worries. I have, by the way, never been accused by anybody in my life of being a quiet talker. And then I would say, we have a handful of very similar small hub airport experience that felt really practicable to your situation, that there was application. Again, recognizing everybody's, there's an old joke among airport directors here, I know what I'm saying, is you've seen one airport, and everybody's got their own unique special sauce, but the work we've done at smaller places just really felt like it had good experience that could bring value. Here's our view of the world. We do not deign to say we know everything that's your situation. But when we encounter problems, we probably have seen half a dozen to 10 different ways to solve it. We don't know that any of those are the right ones, but working with you and having a flexible strategy, we believe can test drive solution options, because we can think of lots of solutions, but we really like to live more in the listening to the owner mode to figure out what their problem is and what is it that we need to solve for, versus us walking in and go, well, I know what this is, so do this. You're going to find our approach is humble leadership is what my boss likes to call this. Is we bring experience, but in the end, we need to do that in a way that's handing leverage.
Other questions, folks on Zoom? Anything you want to jump in on here? Please.
Harry, what prompted you to reach out to you like that?
Well, they actually reached out to us, but in part because we have essentially a multi-year, multi-million, hundreds of millions of dollars control program. My staff do not do that well. Just one project for us absorbs all of our resources, and even when you bring in construction management and additional expertise, that is a lot of labor power on one project. So you either sacrifice something to project or you sacrifice the operation, and we need to augment the staff to make that happen.
Thank you.
I don't mean to be snarky. Do you have any experience with escalators? You want to make a strong first impression.
I think.
Sorry, Jerome, I just couldn't help myself.
Well, we have experience with much experience with escalators. We work in a number of Southern California airports that deal with the blessing that sometimes is state government who wants to tell you how escalators work. I also have experience with escalators that are not indoors, that have their own special kind of challenge.
Could you start tomorrow?
God's lips to your ears.
Sorry, Drew, I couldn't help myself. Anyways, are there any public comments?
Anyone on Zoom wish to make a public comment? Please raise your virtual Zoom hand. No public comments.
So we motion to recommend to City Council the approval of professional services agreement, Paisley Management Group LLC for the program management advisory piece. Do I have a motion? Or second? Second. Well, let's go.
Perfect. Commissioners Wells,
Yes.
Corcoran,
Yes.
Ebensteiner,
Yes.
Bong,
Aye.
Hedrick,
Yes.
Keel, Martin,
Abstain since I couldn't hear it.
Park,
Yes.
Sam Lansdale,
Yes.
Scheffler,
Yes.
Valdez,
Oh, yes.
Voss,
Yes.
Weisman,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
and Yen.
Yes.
So Paul, thank you for coming. Thanks for the process. Thank you, staff. Feels like it's going to be a great fit. There's a sense of urgency. We joke about escalators, but there's a sense of urgency around a lot of things we have to do in this airport. So we look forward to you and your team joining us, and we'll enthusiastically support this at City Council level as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sean. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. All right, 8B. Thank you, Steph, for that. That was helpful. Lobby space, Victoria.
Yes, so this is just a really quick update on the progress that we're trying to make as we go through this process. We've been trying to work with the contractors to secure them to come and do the demo work for the pre-security lobby space. And our advertising consultant Fuse has been actively out and working with the community to try to see which type of sponsorship or company to bring in for sponsorship services for the lounge. We have had to go through a few contractors to ensure that they're able to meet the city's insurance requirements. So that has kind of taken us a little bit of time to do that, because we would select a contractor based off of their quote, but then going back and forth, they weren't able to meet the city's insurance requirements without increasing their quote. So we think we are at a point where we can, we're working with a on-call. We were trying to work with a company that had some experience working with Fuse, but they just didn't work out. So we're really going to go with our on-call consultant or contractor to do the demo work. We're still trying to iron that out with them. So they did say in their quote though that they would be able to complete the demo work within 10 calendar days. So once we issue that purchase order. So that's kind of been a little bit of the hiccup, but we staff have been actively working towards getting the best consultant or contractor on board to help us with demoing that work.
By switching to our on-call options, are we still okay for December? Is that still realistic?
We're being optimistic. Yes. Yes.
Are the Fuse folks here?
They are not in tonight. No.
I know that they're making progress on the sponsorship. You know, people who underwrite this whole thing, whatever. So, they're talking to some really high potential folks. So that's good. At least on that side of the equation, we're moving quickly as well.
Yes.
Questions?
From the public in the room wish to make a public comment? Anyone on Zoom, please raise your virtual Zoom hand. No public comments.
All right. Victoria, anything else?
No, no, thank you. No,
Let's move on to the financial update, please.
All right, so the financials are in your packet for this evening. I do want to say that we are actively working with our city finance department. They're still closing up the fiscal year 2025. So I believe, I'm not sure that they're fully done with it. So currently not fully done with the closing fiscal year 25. So we're kind of operating in 2 fiscal years. So there is going to be some numbers that you're going to see that are a little bit lower when it comes down to our revenues and maybe even our expenses, because they are still actively posting things and trying to get all the journal entries and everything that's needed for the audit for fiscal year 25. So I think that probably closer to the next couple of months, you'll probably start seeing our numbers get a little bit more defined when it comes down to fiscal year 2026 numbers. But overall, for all 4 of our funds, we do have a surplus, meaning that our revenues are exceeding our expenses, even without all of our revenues and our expenses being posted. So we're doing really well.
No surprises?
No surprises at this point.
All right. Commissioners, questions?
Anyone from the public in the room wish to make a public comment? Anyone on Zoom, please raise your virtual Zoom hand. No public comment.
All right. Thanks, Victoria.
Thank you.
All right. Measure Day allocation, Harry and Victoria.
All we need is for another review on this, and we have a slideshow. What we would like to do tonight is discuss our Measure J and Measure D balances, where we currently are with projects we've completed, which Herman will speak to a little bit later in the meeting tonight. But we would like to also propose a path forward on those balances in terms of projects. We've got a couple of different options we'd like to present. The idea is to kind of get commission thinking about what might work, what you would like to see, and then maybe bring this back at a later date, probably next month, to have a vote recommended to the Measure J committee and move forward. So with that, I'll have Victoria kind of speak to the balances themselves, and then we'll talk a little bit about the projects.
Yes, and so I have this slide up here. I don't want to confuse anybody, but I'm using this for my numbers for the Measure J and Measure B numbers. We have about almost 7 million in Measure J, and then about 1.4 million in Measure D. We did have some projects that were pre-approved or approved last fiscal year, and we've had already taken them to Measure J. So those still have not been fully completed. So what we did was, even with those projects that we have planned, we still have an remaining amount. So we have some different proposals that we want to recommend to you for how to utilize these funds. So essentially what will happen is, we present these proposals to you, and then we would still need to take this to the Measure J committee, and the Measure J committee would have to vote on it. So, so we have some ideas here that we wanted to bring before you, and then, see what, the commission has. I think, are we doing a vote on it today, or do we want to do a vote on it next month?
That's going to be up to the chair, but just to kind of give you context on what projects are on here and why they're recommended. We were looking at first projects that could be delivered quickly. So within the next year to a couple of years, we thought that was pretty high on the list of projects that we wanted to look at. Projects that were potentially ineligible for federal funding or other grant funding. Wanted to make sure if we had something that was high priority, but we didn't have a funding source available for it, that we identified those projects. And then projects that were in progress or beginning, where the funding will make the difference, whether in terms of closing out that project or making a difference in terms of it has some tangible benefit to the operation. And I'll use the baggage handling system as one there. So we're doing really well on securing grant funding for the baggage handling system. However, it would be better I use the term other people's money, if we could accrue other people's money for that project. And the reason is because the more we can do that, the less burden there is on airlines. And then that is residual impact on their rates to the passengers. So those are the reasons we're recommending some of the projects on this list. We have three options or three proposals that we're proposing at this time. So this is proposal number one. So for Measure J, we are proposing to complete the procurement of mid-century benches and planters. We actually had, we ordered some earlier. It's been delivered. They've been installed. They look beautiful. But then it looks weird when we have these mid-century benches and then you have more modern benches on the other end of the facade. So we're hoping to put some money there and complete the look so that it feels like it's a mid-century modern airport. Terminal flooring, we'll be executing on that this fall. $400,000 was approved for that. We'll be using all of that $400,000. Terminal seating and charging. This one is quasi new. The commission had brought this up a couple of years ago about wanting to explore what we could do with seating and some charging tables or stations. We're actually bringing that back because we do see a need for it in the terminal complex. So we think we could use $500,000 for that. The FIS, we've discussed this before. And really what we're looking at here is Customs and Border Protection. When you're asking for resources, they typically want to see that you're serious about the proposal that you're bringing to them. And we want to show them that we're serious about an FIS. So the idea is to allocate $1 million for an FIS. And this would largely be to support operational costs and initial infrastructure to get that out of the FIS bill. And then shade structures. And you'll see shade structures in all three of these proposals at various levels, or two of the proposals at various levels. But we did some digging on the shade structure. We're still not complete on the research, but we have enough information to know that to do all 7 shade structures recommended, it's going to be about $2.5 million. And we're trying to be savvy in how we allocate those resources and maybe just focus on one area, scale down the project a little, still get shade structures out there for people to use. And then for Measure D, we have 2 projects that we do have budget for in our operating budget, but it would be better helped if we could use Measure J or Measure D funding to do those projects. And that would be the acquisition of shuttle buses and the acquisition of property. So that's the recommendation for the $1.3 million there. So that's proposal number 1 for staff recommendation. Get a slide, please.
You guys see where we're going? 3 proposals that we can go shop.
Yes. Exactly. So in proposal number 2, what the airport would recommend is, again, completing those mid-century modern benches and planters, again, with terminal flooring, so those are already approved, but then allocate balance of that, the $2.6 million, to complete the outbound baggage handling system project, which would thereby reduce burden on the airlines for their part. And then we would take the Measure D funding and apply $700,000 of that to the FIS initial infrastructure, and then another $630,000 of that to shuttle buses and property acquisition. Slide, please. And then proposal 3, which the first 2 are the same. In proposal 3, we would allocate the balance of $2.2 million to complete 7 shade structures in total, 5 in the Uber and Lyft area, 2 in the taxi area. And then again, the balance of the Measure D would go toward the FIS infrastructure and shuttle and property acquisition. So those are the 3 proposals. Obviously, there are other opportunities for funding projects out there, but we think this is the best use of Measure J from a staff perspective.
Sir, can you define a little bit more about property acquisition and the Measure D? 638,000, what property you were buying?
Right now, we are looking at a couple of different properties. One major property that we've been discussing for a while is about 10 acres, and that's south of the airport. And that's to accommodate the auxiliary rental car lot, as well as potential expansion of public parking. Now, obviously, $600,000 doesn't go far from that, but it can get us through the contracting phase of that. The second acquisition, we're kind of tossing this around internally, but at some point we're going to need to address space planning for organization. So you reference the master plan. It would tell you that we are far short on both passenger circulation space as well as on space for staff to operate. And that includes not only airport staff, but also airlines, ground handlers, and rental car companies. So the idea would be to acquire either some temporary facility or apply it toward permanent facility so that we can create that space while we transition into implementing the master plan, building and concourse.
So, that 10 acres is private land, the south side of the airport. Then eventually we're going to have to get that property. And then if we move the staff to another building, would free up a lot of space in the second floor. So that's the other idea that's been kicked around.
Evan Steiner has a question.
Right?
Commissioner
Harry,
Evan
thank you. Harry, just to clarify, what we're looking at here isn't the total cost of these things. It's just how you're allocating the Measure J across your different scenarios. So like the terminal flooring, 400,000 has been approved. My understanding it was going to cost a lot more than that. Is that right? Or so just so I make sure I understand.
That's correct. So on the terminal flooring specifically, you're right on the point that it doesn't cover the full cost of either carpet or terrazzo. We're actually going to carpet because terrazzo to install that was about a $6 million project. We actually have other priorities. So.
Okay.
Can you go back to number 2, please? So is $700,000 enough for you to show the FAA and other people that we're serious about an FIS facility?
That's a good question. There's a couple of components. So there's the operational piece, and then there's the actual building a facility to accommodate that operational piece. And so what our proposal would be to Customs and Border Protection, the FAA, would be allocate the operational piece, which would be that $700,000, and that'll get us a year, maybe a year and a half of startup to staff, resource, and FIS, and that shows Customs and Border Protection we're serious about staffing that. And then potentially use PFC funding to fund temporary permanent facility for the actual operation itself. We think this will help make the argument when we get Customs and Border Protection that we're serious. Obviously, we haven't made that argument yet, so it's yet to be seen if that'll actually go far for them. But that 700,000 actually does cover about 5 Customs and Border Protection officers for a year.
And the $1 million, so that'd be 300,000 for a potential space for the facility, correct?
Which million are we?
Well,
Another slide. It would be the same dynamic. We would use it for initial infrastructure and for Customs and Border Protection personnel because it's done on a certain basis. With the idea that eventually it would switch and the airlines, whichever airline is using that facility, would assume that cost via their rates.
So, finishing the baggage facility, the baggage upgrade is extremely important at the airport because that's an operational. So, no matter what, that should be one of the highest priorities, correct?
Well, you're doing that to offset the airline. That's the thing that's tricky about
Yes,
this. I mean, if the airlines are going to pay for this, why would we use Measure J money to offset their fees? Getting back to our fee discussion from our last meeting. I agree it's a priority, but your caveat around that's to soften the blow for the airlines who should be paying for this thing anyways. So that's why I agree with you in terms of priority, but when you put that caveat on it, I'm like, wait a minute, Measure J funding was not designed to make it easier for airlines. It was designed to improve the infrastructure of the city. And in our last couple years ago, when we had this first discussion, you'll remember, Ken, when we said these investments have to have an impact on customer experience, right? So I would agree with that until that caveat's put on, because these funds should have the greatest impact on our experience or our priorities. And I wouldn't necessarily support that if the reality is we're just making it easier for the airlines. Their fees are pretty aggressive as it is, competitive as it is. But remember that discussion from a couple of years ago when we said, let's make sure that this precious money is having an impact on the customer experience. Vis-a-vis building a lot of infrastructure. Remember one time we had a discussion about buying fire trucks with the Measure J money. And we said, wait a minute, there's other sources of funds for those investments. But just a response to that.
Can we look at number one? Let's go back to number one.
Can we dive back into the FISPs just for a minute? I would imagine there's a fair amount of competition over this staff that we would need to show that we really want to have them here at Palm Springs. And I think that I'm just wondering what your take is on that difference between 700,000 and million. Does that make us more serious in their eye that we're going to be moving in that direction?
I mean, anything we can put toward the operation will help, but I think what Customs and Border Protection is looking for is that we have a serious plan in place, and whether it's 500,000 or whether it's $1 million, that we're seriously looking at this. We're taking their concerns seriously about how this can be implemented and operated, and that we have a plan and a pathway forward for it. So I don't think that $300,000 makes a substantial difference. Certainly helps, but I don't think it'll make a substantial difference.
So looking at the three, if I was going to make a recommendation, I'd go with one for two reasons. One, having money to buy this property today versus buying it in the future is going to save us money in the long run. So putting all Measure B into the acquisition of land, whatever Revocor has said, seems to make no sense there. And $500,000, that's for the terminal seating. It's just adding convenience, makes the place more pleasant. I can go either way on shade structure, but I really like $1 million for the FIS. So if I was going to make a recommendation, I would go with one.
I like one, the three shade structure. That's important to me. But I don't think we need them at the taxi thing. There's always taxis waiting for people. When you
It's the
want,
other-
when you want an Uber or something, sometimes you're there 20 minutes waiting. It's hot. I was just there last week and it's hot.
Real quick. On proposals 1 and 3 with shade structures, these are still the same structures that we're going to build. Correct? Awesome. Possibly.
That's why it was interesting to go from 5 to 3 and cover the Uber area, which is the one that we promised 2.5 years ago. You know, we just were able to cover that with the 700,000 instead of 2.2. I think we would address the bigger issue there. That's where we're getting all the pushback. And if we had to demo them eventually 5 years from now, maybe that's less of an issue. But I know we were all afraid to spend the $2.5 million. That's why we haven't done anything for 2 years. So if we could cover that with this amount of money, you know, that would pay off the promise we made 2.5 years ago to fix that. So that's interesting, I think.
I've got a process here. I seem to remember, correct me if I'm wrong, that around March or April at this meeting, we had discussed, allocated $1 million from Measure J toward the FIS.
I don't think we ever voted. I think we
There wasn't?
discussed there was no vote. Yeah, there was no vote.
It was just something throughout, like, oh, let's do this with the money.
Well, there were multiple motions on the floor at that one, and we just decided to kind of hold.
I think the time we're waiting for more information around what's it going to take to move FIS and try to get the thing here. And I think to build on Ken's comments, you know, anything we do to get international flights here and get them faster will have a huge impact. We've been talking about this forever. So as you learn more about this area, you get closer to this. If we say we're going to bet $1 million of measured money to get international flights here, that'll have a big impact. If that's bad, to your point, Ed, if that fast forward that decision, it demonstrates that we're serious about it. I think that's an appropriate use of measured money, you know, because we want to get to those international flights.
Also, Mr. Chair, on the FIS, if we fully funded something like that, what does that do of any impact, hopefully positive, as far as expanding the foreign trade zone?
That is the first domino to expand the foreign trade zone.
I can tell you, the city of Desert Hot Springs wants that.
Just for grants, go back to number 3. I think I'm with you, Kenneth. But just, is there anything on 3 that you would really want? I wouldn't pay 2.5, 2.2 for shade structures for all the reasons we talked about.
The money's the same no matter what, right? What the proposal is just a matter of allocating what
buckets it goes to.
Yeah. And in 3, we're shortchanging the settled property acquisition. And the assumption, even though we're in a little bit of slump now, over time, property is always going to increase in value.
Yeah, good point. Go to 2, please. Yeah, again, I'm sorry, I can't support the Pegasus system because we want to make it cheaper for the airlines. You know, after our discussion around fees at our last meeting. Let's go back to 1.
One point regarding this shade structure money that I've spoken about before, and I'm strong spending money on something that's likely to be torn down. And the point that I made previously was, you know, I was dealing with the Measure J committee for a lot of years, and I've been away from it for a while. But to my knowledge, there hasn't been any Measure J money spent on projects that were expected to be of temporary nature. With that said, if you're committed to spending some for 3 TNC shade structures, I'd recommend putting some in Measure D, which doesn't have a commission, doesn't have a group of people that feel like they have some ownership. I know because of the source of how this money came about, it's not Measure J dollars that the Measure J Commission used to dealing, but still, it's just an issue that could be avoided by allocating it out of Measure B somehow.
That's a good point. Just one other question. So the city paid to build a parklet in front of the Palm Springs Plaza Theater. And there's 3 umbrellas that were put into that parklet just down the street by the Italian restaurant. When that was being designed and implemented last month, somebody said to me, can we just do something like that? I mean, I don't know how extensive relative to the scope of what these structures are and your vision for that. But could that be another way to overcome this issue of, we're going to throw these things out? Could we just get a simpler piece? They have 3 umbrellas. They stick into the ground, and it covers that whole parklet.
We did look at that. And the difference between here and what happens downtown is you have a lot of buildings to break them in.
Yeah.
Downtown.
So it wasn't practical.
Evan Steiner, Commissioner Evans.
Brian?
Hi, can you hear me?
We can.
Not to necessarily belabor the point, but for me, understanding what the total cost is for these things and where the difference in cost, to pay for the part that's not listed here, where that would come from, I think would be helpful. I mean, I look at it like terminal flooring. If it is $6 million and we're saying let's allocate 400,000 from here, just as an example, I'm less inclined to say, well, let's do that with Measure J, since it's such a small part of the overall cost. And to me, it would kind of be helpful to understand what are we looking for from Measure J and Measure D of the total cost to do these things.
Certainly.
I don't know if other people think that, but just a comment.
Yeah, I think as I'm looking at these projects, so for example, terminal seating and charging, we actually never even put in our budget. So this would be basically an allocated budget for that purpose, and we would just purchase whatever we needed to that amount to get to that $500,000. Again, with federal inspection station, there's no hard fast number there. We just need to demonstrate there's a path forward. Shade structures, we do have the number, and the number is 2.2 million. And then the other 2 projects at the top for Measure J, we actually saved money on the first acquisition of benches and planters, which is why we're asking for the 35,000, because that's actually basically the remainder of that savings. And then the terminal flooring, we're looking at carpeting now, and I believe that's a $600,000 project. So 200,000 is coming out of there.
Right. On shade structures. So the 2.2 is for the 5 of the original plan, or just for the 3?
That's for 7.
Yeah. So it include the taxi.
And this would cover fully 3? Or not?
This would get us probably 80% free. So I think we estimated 3 at about 1.1 million,
which we use for the Jeff, you can get one about how you sell this to the Measure J mid. I think that there's enough agita about, to your point, just how the heat in that area, that if this came up as an issue, the commission's decision to go from 7 to 3 to address the issue that has been pending for over 2.5 years, I think we can sell Measure J. There's enough people who complain to us about this, and we've been waiting, not wanting to spend the big money, $2.5 million or the 2.2. So my sense in presenting this to them would be, this is from a customer experience point of view. It's been a huge issue. We're going to do it. The second thing is, I hope with the investment with our new consulting firm, we're going to go to the speed of light to start to tear up these parking lots and everything else. But if they last for 3 or 4 years before we have to do it, I still think that that's a benefit. And we've made a responsible decision from going 2.2, 7 to down to 3. I think we can sell Measure J just based on the feedback we're all getting from people who complain all summer long about having to wait for their Uber and all of that. I don't know about switching between B and J and the logistics of that. I don't know enough about why the shuttles and B and D funding something else. But I think we could justify that to Measure J based on what we've been promising for 3 years. I also agree with Ken. I think the interesting thing about putting money towards these property acquisitions now is interesting. I think that's a really interesting use of the money, and we need to get the 10 acres. And if we can find a facility, another building, create more space for staff and others, and we can do that now. Now's the time to start buying, I think. So I like the rationale behind that. So I'm kind of leaning towards Ken's. I think this may be, or option one may be, the best idea. But other comments,
Kevin, on the shade structures, how big are those?
12 feet by 20 feet.
And so,
15 by 20,
if we needed to take those down for whatever reason, do they have to be destructed all the way down, or do they redeployed? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. They just be reused somewhere else.
We can ask our designer.
I would suspect for maybe a few dollars here or more, whatever, maybe at the footings aspect of it, is there a portable footing aspect that they could do? And then we're just talking about a reuse part of it. Shade.
We can ask the designer to integrate that.
that's an interesting.
Yeah.
I thought we had discussed many meetings ago that they could take them down and redeploy. That right?
So our concern was that we had to drill how many feet down? 20? Yeah. 20.
Because we have to, it's a 100-mile wind gust.
Right.
We have to mine it off. So that takes a lot of, underground footings to work on. So they're not very easy to just take it down because of the codes and the requirements due to the codes and everything.
Right.
And one of the biggest one is the wind gust up to 100 miles.
Well, I'm saying if it's going to be destroyed anyways for whatever purpose, and maybe we had an interior section that needs shade but doesn't have the winds as strong as there, is a reusability.
We can ask the design
I
engineer.
I don't know,
I think it's a good idea.
but I would say at least from a point of discussion, if we want to be able to repurpose these in some way or form,
Build it in the spec.
or maybe not even on site, do something pop in the park somewhere. I don't know. I would look at that as an avenue.
So for those of you who are new, who are not part of this discussion, we discovered this windfall of cash. The deal was that these funds are generated on the airport property, so they can't be spent anywhere else. They have to be spent here. So it's a little, I think politically, it's a little bit different for the Measure J Commission. Yes, we want their blessing, but all this money has to be spent here, and we're the ones spending time going through these priorities. The other thing that came clear in our initial discussion was we said it had maximum impact on the passenger and the overall passenger experience, because that was the spirit of Measure J that tax was put in place. So you look at this list, the new things, the terminal seating, $500,000 to get charging cables and all of that. Some of the stuff we started doing in the Agua Caliente activation. I mean, if we did that throughout, people would really notice that. I think appreciate that. The FIS, we've all agreed, the faster we get to international service, the better. Shade structures, again, I think we've skinnied it down, but we're addressing the area that needs it the most. And using the balance of the money for, this property acquisition, again, it helps the airport with those types of funds move forward. So, unless you guys disagree, I would think we could, does anybody disagree with that? And if not, could we move forward with this recommendation? Or does someone want to fight for another investment?
Just one question about the shade structures. I know that the historical preservation group needed to weigh in. So have we heard back from them on this? Has it been presented to them?
We've had high-level feedback, which was basically on the south end where the Uber and TNC area is. It's likely we can move forward. There'll probably still be some additional feedback, but likely we can move on the north end where the taxi stand is. We're going to have challenges.
So I'd like to make the motion that we accept staff's recommendation, proposal 1.
Second. Any discussion? Any discussion from the public? Discussion online? Any online commissioners or others want to make a comment?
Anyone on Zoom, please raise your virtual Zoom hand.
I'm on board. He just beat me to seconding it.
Public comments. We'll go ahead and take a motion. And Caldwell,
Yes.
Corcoran,
Yes.
Bong, Hedrick,
Yes.
Keel, Park, yes. Tamlaska, yes. Treffler,
Yes.
Valdez,
Yes.
Boss,
Yes.
Wise,
Yes.
Wiseman,
Yes.
and yes.
Eppensteiner, yes, as well.
Evans, thank you.
Martin, yes, as well.
Good. Glad you're on. So we have said yes. How fast?
I don't know when the next measure generation is, maybe Chris. Before 9 would be the third week. Okay. So our listing which follows the. Got it. Okay, so we.
So October, Chris,
Probably.
would be the soonest we could get to them.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, again, to see $500,000 to get that done and get that started. Could we even go in parallel, start working on some of this stuff in anticipation that they're going to say yes?
We can certainly generate some ideas while they're working.
All right. Because these are big wins, and hopefully $1 million helps us to get the FIS. But the other things, we can start moving on that. That would be great. And happy for Ross to go to Measure J and to advocate for this and explain our rationale behind it. Okay. Good. Happy? We good?
I'm happy.
There we go. What a productive group. Love it. All right, 18 operation. Kevin, are you going to lead this?
Yeah. So last Tuesday we met with the operations subcommittee. We covered a couple topics. I'm going to go out of order from what we discussed. So we had an update on the grass watering schedule. There was an online comment that made its way to my ear through the marketing committee, mentioning that we were watering the grass during daytime hours, which was wasteful. So brought it to Jeremy's attention. He coordinated with the team that handles that, and they've fully lined the watering schedule with city and local water district guidelines and updated the watering schedule. So I'm really happy we can improve the sustainability of our operations. We also talked about the ground transport planning, and in relation to that, the shade structures. We were thinking that this decision on the shade structures was contingent on the final ground transport planning based on, Jeffrey's comments previously about needing the shade structures to be a permanent fixture to align with Measure J. I'm glad to see that we're moving forward with trying to get these shade structures implemented, and I'd love to issue a challenge to Jeremy to see if we can get them before the temperature dial hits 110 next year. So that's my little challenge for you. We also touched. It's a baby, I'm sure. The elevator and escalators we talked about for a couple of weeks now. While we've been working on a known elevator repair, unfortunately, the escalator handrail decided to explode on us, and so we are in the process of trying to replace it, but it has to be custom made and sent over from a factory, God knows where. So it's looking a couple of months out. Then we talked about general aviation landing fees based on a commissioner's request. Commissioner Tim, I think, our new one of our newest members, or Phil, sorry. So we touched on that briefly. We got an update from some research that the team had done, and we asked them to do a little bit more research to answer some other questions we have about it, so that we can bring to the full commission an update on it for discussion and debate, where we think we can answer every question you might throw at us. So lastly, we talked about the closure for the summer of a couple of outlets, food outlets at the airport. and we went over the reopening schedule. And Tanya, if you could share those slides, I'd love to just post those up for the full commission to see and react to.
Sure. Go ahead. Turn off my phone. Victoria, are you able to share it? So I'm gonna get off Zoom. It has an echo with me on.
And in worst case, these are in your agenda packet.
Oh, thank you, Victoria. Is this the correct one?
That's the last slide of it. And there's a Parodies ramp up as well, but we can start here. So WH Smith has all of their outlets open at the moment, although at a bit of reduced hours. You can see at the start of October, so in about 2 weeks, they'll be opening up the Pink Door earlier, and they'll be opening Las Palmas, Hey Joshua, In Motion, and Uptown Essentials until the last flight departs.
So no issues, Kevin, with WH. Seems like
I
they're
think that-
fully employed as of the 1st of October.
And if we take a look at the Parodies ramp up,
Must not have the most current one, but so I can just speak on it really quickly if that's okay. And it like Commissioner Wiseman mentioned, it actually is in your packet. There's 2 slides that reference the ramp up for Parodies. Currently, we have 3 locations that are closed. So that's Cactus to Clouds, Coachella Valley Coffee, and Las Casuelas. We do intend on opening as more flights come in. So around 10-1, we plan on opening Vino Bolo, and then 10-21 and 11-14, we start staggering the opening based off our flight schedule. So is there any questions about the current schedule that we have planned for upcoming open?
So this is confusing to me. So we're saying on the 1st of October, Coachella will reopen, Las Consuelos will reopen.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, that's correct. At 4:30, and then at 9 a.m. for Las Casuelas.
And Las Consuelos closes at 2.
Yes, 2 p.m.
Why is that? Is that what they've always done?
I'm not sure what they've always done, but I do know that it's just based on our flight schedule. So as you know, with this new concession program, we added 2 new site locations. So Cactus to Clouds being one of them, Las Casuelas / Coachella Valley Coffee being the second. So over the last 5 years, we haven't had these 2 additional spaces open. So we are just playing it based off of the schedule, the flight schedule of how many passengers are we anticipating, and we're constantly looking at it. So if we feel that there's a need to extend the hours, that's something that we're working very closely with Parodies on.
I don't ever remember that, Victoria, being in our proposals for concessions.
So
they would just close for months at a time.
It's upon the executive director's approval for the timing, and so that is something that we work with our partners on. So if you think about it, you know, the operations to staff, the you know, their employees, and if we're not having a very large demand of passengers, then it's a loss on them as well as on the airport because we're not gaining any revenues from it. So again, we're working really closely with Parodies to make sure that, you know, they're ramping up for the season and that they're prepared to be ready whenever we have all of our flights coming back in.
So Cactus of the Clouds Vibrations, right, will not open again until November 14th.
That is correct.
How do you feel about it? I mean, it's not like it's gonna be 115 degrees in all of October. I mean, that's it.
Oh, I'm sorry. It says 10:21. Sorry. There's 3 slides.
Yeah.
So 10:21. 10 a.m. to last flight. So maybe that makes you feel better.
It does make me feel better. I got it open October 1st. When you come off of, 4 through 10. And now it looks like, it looks like it's empty. I get it. That one I never had an issue about closing. But to wait until the end of October is, for that, especially because it has such energy to it. I mean, we fought hard to get that thing done.
Do you think that the weather would be better 10-1?
Oh yeah. And if it's not, if it's over 100 degrees, I guess we could make that a call. But wait till the end of the middle of October. It's just crazy.
Well, we could look at that. I mean, obviously, we want to make sure that the passengers are comfortable sitting outside if it's still like 100 degrees. It does not have misters. That would probably make it feel better. But we could definitely keep an eye on it, and definitely with the weather. So if it starts getting cooler, of course. I mean, it is a beautiful statement. It's right in the middle. I mean, it's Chris Moody's favorite location.
Yes, it is.
Battle lost. My point exactly.
We'll be there October 1st.
Victoria, I'm trying to remember the history on misters at Cactus to Clouds. Was that not in the original sort of design considerations?
No.
Really?
Could it be? Or should it be? I don't know. I get the thing for that location. It's just to have it closed for 3 or 4 months when the weather starts to break. I think we should go.
Yeah, and another thing too that Parodies has to be mindful of with their staff is, the OSHA requirements of having their staff out there like all day. So after a certain temperature, it becomes a safety hazard. And I understand, the airport operates, we have staff that's, working around, but at least our staff gets to go inside and go and get AC. These staff really would be working out there 6 to 8 hours.
Fig and Plum opens on November 14th, Jeremy. That one's gonna be ready.
That what it shows.
Yeah, that's the intention, and it's the location that's currently down below the elevator and escalator. So that's the intent, to reopen that back up to help with the passenger traffic that we're going to be seeing.
I'm sorry, I thought that was going up. What's the name of the one that's being built at the top of the escalators? That's Movie Colony.
Movie Colony.
When's that open?
That's a good question. We're still working on that.
So, just for a little bit of instant Google research here. In October, Palm Springs weather states, it's around 95 is the high. It was 69 is the low, and then as we truck along towards the end of the month, it gets to like 83 with the low of 59. So, are people tolerable at 95? I mean, I've been in the desert long enough that I have a hoodie on 5. So, I think probably.
Can we move that up, or at least consider it?
Yeah, I think for a quick soda or something like that. I don't know. People who sit down 95, I know I probably some others do.
So this has been helpful. Let's have it at our next meeting. Hopefully most of them be open by this time. And let's get an update on Movie Colony. Let's get a firm date. I thought that was going to open by November.
We have had some challenges, not just in terms of the contractor that was working on it, but also obviously that sign challenges. So we're working with Parodies on that. Pam was just here last week. We had a long conversation with her about it. And we're basically developing a recovery plan to get that up and running as soon as possible.
All right. Kevin brought it up, so let's just get it on the table. Where are we with the escalators in this catastrophic failure? And what is the implication of that? And then the question I want to ask again. Now we're looking at December of 26 to fix these escalators, right? That was in our last meeting, that's what we were told. Okay. Is there anything we can do to fast track these escalators. We talked about when we get to the bid process, can we put a performance fee of 20%, get these things done faster and sooner? I mean, we are getting hammered by the public on this. And, I've flown it out of here a couple times in the last 2 weeks. I know we have the people in the red shirts. Most of the time they're on the phone. When I came in and both escalators were down. In one situation, I saw someone being helped. Most of the situations I have not. And I appreciate, Jake, you put those signs up that says we have the people who help you. They're there. I'm not sure how aggressive we are about helping people, but we are getting hammered about this. And the idea that we turn to people and say, now we're 14, 15 months out, there has to be another way to get this done. So is there anything else we can do to get these done?
So I kind of want to address the getting hammered part. I think I understand the frustration. The staff understands the frustration more than anybody. Just when we think we have it dialed in and solved, suddenly something else breaks. Like, now we have to do this. I totally get that. The RFP for those escalators is going to council. The people to initiate the RFP is going to council in the next meeting, so on the 25th. And I believe we're sticking to minimums in terms of turnaround on getting those proposals done. The real challenge for us, frankly, is that everything that goes into fixing those escalators has to be manufactured. And that lead time for manufacturing is what's causing the delay. We'll certainly press on the engineers and press on the manufacturers to get those done as quickly as possible and incentivize it. We do that. I'm sure Scott's happy to do that.
But Harry, that isn't working. We knew a year ago that we have old escalators that have to have custom parts. My question is on the building the new escalators, how can we fast track this? How can we get because you told us that we have to go study it, and then we got to go procure it, and then we got to go select it, and now it's December 26th, and the public is over this. So there's got to be a better way to do it. And we talked in our last meeting about, can we put in incentives in these RFPs? That we pay them 20% more if we get it done by the end of June. Is there something we can do that's dramatic to show the public that we can move faster than 18 months? And, and then stipulating all the stuff about the Band-Aids we've been putting on these escalators for years. I get that. But are we doing enough on the procurement part for the new ones to fast track this?
I will say we're doing everything that we can within the boundaries of the law. Now, if there are other things out there, I'll certainly have to get with the procurement officials, with Chris, who supervises the procurement manager, as well as with Jeremy on our BBK team to see if there are other things that we can do. I think it gets challenging when the project becomes this large, this dollar amount, because there are some state laws that kind of define how we can proceed in that. But I'm open to defining an innovative way. I know the staff is, I know Scott is. So we will do everything we can to run it down, try and get you an answer.
So Scott and Chris, we're doing everything we can, but we may need more muscle from staff to help us, like move it through procurement faster. Like, why could the procurement people be working on this right now so we can fast track these RFPs? I don't know what it is, but there has to be a way to shorten the process so we can look at this quickly, because this Band-Aid thing, for another 18 months of this, the public is just out of their minds about this stuff, let alone council. So what can we do to fast track it?
Mr. Chairman, so we all understand the frustration. What I'd like to do, Harry, let's meet with procurement tomorrow morning. If I agree with you, if there's anything we can do, emergency procedures. I've got some emergency procedures that in certain circumstances, when I advise council of that, I can get approval of that. This is a perfect situation to do that. So I don't have any compunction with taking those responsibilities to do it. So to your point, let's talk to procurement first thing in the morning. If there's anything we can do to expedite it, we will do it. If there's anything Harry needs to green light stuff on my end, we'll do it. This is a good example. This summer, we had a whole bunch of electrical utilities blow out in Sunrise Park. We fast-tracked approved a whole bunch of emergency procedures because we couldn't just let the park, suffer through some of those things. This is the same situation. In my mind, it's no different. So you have my commitment tomorrow morning. We'll talk to purchasing. Anything we can do, we'll try and move as fast as we can.
Great. Thank you. Anything we need? Other comments and operations? Kevin, any other comments or color commentary?
Anyone on Zoom?
No, that covers it.
Oh, sorry, Kevin.
I said, no, that covers it.
Thank you, guys.
Anyone on Zoom wish to make a public comment? Please raise your virtual Zoom hand. Anyone in the room? No public comments.
Great. Let's go to Mark.
Hi, everybody. So item 8F is marketing committee meeting update. Commissioner McDermott is out of Tennessee. This is a report. I was going to go cover that here. Through it's in your packet, item 8F. The first section on her report, section 1, agency selection. That is also we covered in item 8G on the agenda. We took item 8G to the marketing committee for review and vetting before bringing it to the full commission. What you can see on that is that the committee heard the presentation from the proposed new advertising agency, SparkBot. The presentation included examples of future advertising creative and highlighted the team's deep industry knowledge, vast capabilities, and proven expertise. Out of the 28 proposals received, including from our current agency, SparkBot's strengths position them as a top candidate. On this section, she has committee action. She said the committee unanimously voted to recommend that the Airport Commission vote to recommend that City Council approve the agreement with SparkBot for airport advertising services. Section 2 of her report, current PSP marketing campaigns. She says Stephen's on my team. He reported on our ongoing marketing campaigns of performance. He noted being more hands-on creative this year and expressed optimism about working with SparkBot given their resources and expertise. A little additional comment on that. Our current agency doesn't have, Stevens had to be a bit more hands-on with their current agency. And so the new agency, just because of the amount of staff that have their expertise, it'll be able to take a lot of stuff off of his plate to open up bandwidth for other projects that we have on our team that kind of being slowed down or put on hold because of work he's had to put with the current agency. So approving that will help with our staff bandwidth as well. Let's see. It's highlights from Stephen's reports. Flight searches via Fly My Airport link. If you guys recall, Fly My Airport is a booking engine on our website where we get good booking information on how our advertising is working and flights being booked on airlines. If you know, like airlines, they typically when we were advertising, we don't own the product we sell, being the airline tickets. The airlines do, and they don't like to share information that's proprietary. So Fly My Airport booking engine is powered by Kayak. And that helps us get some data on how our advertising is working. Overall website performance is up the flight searches via Fly My Airport is up 85% with our new campaigns. Overall website performance is up 54% year over year. On our campaign efficiency, Stephen reported that Coachella Valley continues to lead as a top performing target market, showing the highest engagement and lowest cost per acquisition. On passenger growth, our advertising efforts increased in-plane passengers, and what we can directly attribute to what we use with the Fly My Airport and data we get from that. It's not overall everything, but at least what we can quantify by Fly My Airport. Increased passenger planes by 1.14% over the last year, and which we attribute to the shifting ad spend for an off-peak season. If you guys recall, it directed my team to push a lot of our efforts and advertising spend towards increasing flying locally in the summertime to boost our traffic in the summer, which helps make our case to airlines for more year-round routes and things like that. And so you're going to see my next report. I think our efforts are paying off for that. And we can attribute this with our revenue per employment. We've added additional revenue to the airport partners, and concessionaires totaling $1.78 million in additional revenue based on our efforts through this. The next section 3, is a customer feedback report. Jake, who you guys all know, presented our Q2 customer comments report compared to second quarter 2024. Our negative sentiment is down 57%. Positive sentiments on the airport are up 37%. Staff excellent mentions are up 14%, and operational efficiency mentions are up 12%. And improvements were attributed to the team's focus on guest experience. So based on last conversation, this was Q2, so the escalator was working at that time. I just want to set the stage in case Q3 comes in a little more rough. You guys are prepared for that. Then section 4 on your guest experience program update, that's actually in my presentation, item 8H. So if it's okay with you all, I will just skip that and cover that in my marketing update. And I don't know if we're on the marketing committee, if you guys have anything to add from our meeting. No?
Yes, we had an excellent meeting. And I think the marketing team did an excellent job in vetting Sparkloft. They have some next level in their creativity. And I think everyone there, we're pretty excited about voting to approve the contract.
They were stylish, they were smart, they
Right.
were engaging, for the next level based on what we've seen previously. So, and we were all very enthusiastic.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Our current agency is a team of 3, the Sparkloft team of 45. They have offices, 3 offices throughout the country, and their team members include former airline network planners. They know the conferences I'm going to pitch airlines for new air service. So they got a really great team, well-rounded team, with a lot of expertise. That would be a great agency to bring on board.
Who do you think we'll start seeing creative?
So right now, actually, the transition plan right now is with our current agency, we're going to sunset and end their contract on December 31st of this year. We're going to use Q4 as to let Sparkloft. Well, if you guys approve and council approves, we'll hopefully get Sparkloft working for us as close to October 1st as possible. Q4 will spend time doing research, going over the efforts we've done so far today, preparing new creative and new ad campaigns, and then advertising with our current agency will end on December 31st. Then January 1, Sparkloft will start, so we won't have any blackout on our advertising marketing efforts. So creative campaigns start January next year.
So are we asking for sorry.
Oh, so we actually haven't gotten that part. We're still on the marketing committee part. I haven't got to that part just yet. Okay, we're ready.
Well, we
We'll
just
move on.
need to go to public comments
okay.
just quick. Do we have anybody on Zoom for the committee? On Zoom that wishes to make a public comment, please raise your virtual Zoom hand. Anyone in the room?
I'm sorry, Daniel, did you have any other comments?
Well, I was just thinking of that one marketing skit, I guess, where they said, if you're in LA.
Oh, yes.
That was hilarious. So we can hardly wait to see that.
Yeah. So it's not in your presentation, but it's one. It's I think their current creative ideas are very mid-century, very Palm Springs, and very subtly pitch us as a much more luxurious, nicer experience than the bigger behemoths down the road. Okay, so I guess move on to item 8G.
We're good to go.
Good.
Public comments.
Okay. So item 8G, I'll just read the quick little summary. So item 8G, this action will recommend to the City Council the approval of contract services agreement number 25P268, which is attachment A, with GoCtel Network Incorporated, DBA Sparkloft Media, for advertising services for Palm Springs International Airport in an amount not to exceed $3,674,500 for the 3-year term beginning October 1st, 2025 through September 30th, 2028, with 2 1-year extension options at the city's sole discretion.
Have a motion.
Second.
Thank you. Okay. Caldwell,
Yes.
Corcoran,
Yes.
Evansteiner,
Yes.
Bond, Hedrick,
Yes.
Keel, Park,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Salmanska,
Yes.
Scheffler,
Yes.
Valdez, Boss, Wiseman,
Yes.
Wise,
Yes.
and York.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's exciting.
Thank you.
Good. I'm thrilled the marketing folks, the subcommittee agrees. So
I can't wait to have them on board. I am so excited.
all right. Anything else on marketing update?
Still my item 8H, my general typical update.
Anyone from the public? We're good to go.
Okay, so item 8H, moving into passengers and air service, page 3 of my presentation in your packet. So great news, July and August passenger numbers were up. July was up 11% over July 2024. We had 125,080 total passengers. August was up 3.5% over 2024 at 122,167 passengers. What's great about this is that currently we are approximately tracking through January to August of this year. We're tracking 4% ahead of January to August of 2023, which was our last record year. And we're currently 9.9% ahead of January through August of 2024. So doing very well. And I checked my numbers today for TSA throughput, the checkpoint throughput, the number of people going through the checkpoint daily. And so far through for September, we're up 6.49% on that number. So I'm hoping September is going to be a great month for us as well. We've also had a slew of air service announcements the last 2 months. I hope you guys all saw those. We have Alaska Airlines is going to start running Santa Rosa service October through April 5 times a week. They were replacing the service that Avelo abandoned when they decided to abandon the entire Western United States. They were doing 2 to 4 times a week, so I have more service on Alaska, or more weekly flights to Santa Rosa with Alaska than Avelo. Austin, we have 2 new airlines want to bring back that service. Southwest announced originally March through May Saturday only service. They have since updated. They're going to do Saturdays on some weekends, and then at the height of the season, they'll do Saturday and Sunday. Delta announced originally Saturday only service November 15th, April 25th, but starting around Christmas time and going through early April, actually most of April, they changed that to daily service to Austin. Great news for us. Some news about Delta is they are going to be putting in a flight attendant base and a pilot base in Austin, Texas. They are going to have, I think, nearly 39 nonstop destinations out there. So I'm pretty sure writing's on the wall, they're going to be building a hub there. So maybe it could be a year-round route for us and more connections. So we'll see. It's great. Good news for us on that front. And also American Airlines, first time ever, will have Saturday service to Charlotte, North Carolina, starting December 20th, going through April 18th. So we have a lot of new routes and new things coming up. Very excited for that. Flipping on the next page, Canadian flights and seat updates. And Commissioner Corcoran asked for updates on that. So it is not as positive as the rest of my report, but I will say October, November, and December, we were down 22 flights in October, or 18.8% in flights, down 10 flights in November, or 5.1% in flights, and we have currently scheduled down 6 flights in December, or down 2.8%. Looking back, historically, June, July, and August, June passengers were down 5.9% over June of last year, 38.9% July of last year. So last year we had 2,900, almost 3,000 arriving Canadian passengers. This year we had 1,800 in the month of July. In August was down 27.3% in that one. Look at the scheduled seats to the right of the chart. October is below October 2024, but still tracking a little bit ahead of where we were in 2023. November this year has less seats than November of 24 and 23. December is currently less than 24, but still tracking ahead of 2023. We got some news from WestJet today. So all these numbers right now talking about the passengers arriving, that's just what's coming off of WestJet. WestJet is the only Canadian carrier that operates on a year-round basis right now. So it's our best indication of who's coming from. We can't differentiate who may be an American or Canadian or European on those flights, obviously. And we also can't account for maybe somebody who's flying from Canada and connecting in Seattle on Alaska. So it's it's not a full picture. We can't get that the best of what we have. WestJet, they said that they know to us, and as we've heard before, I've told you guys, is that PSP is faring better than other airports due to the second home owners, but they are hearing from customers they are trying to sell their second homes in the area, and I think we've all had an uptick in real estate listings. They are seeing more Americans go to Canada due to the exchange rate. Also, the poor exchange rate or the lower exchange rate between Canadian dollar and US dollar is also impacting Canadians coming here. And so more Americans are going to Canada right now, which may not be good for our destination. However, it does support our service going to Canada and helps us retain that Canadian service. We do have people still flying. But WestJet, their outlook is actually somewhat positive. They said the winter cold has not hit yet in Canada, and they expect to see increased demand to sun destinations, specifically coming to here when that does hit. So looking at the seats right now in December, it's still tracking in December 2023. I think they're waiting to see how, when the cold hits, how the future bookings work with Canadians where they make some adjustments. If you guys recall from previous reports, we're showing maybe a 3% reduction 3 months out. As we get closer, they're pulling it more and more down because they're seeing bookings are coming. Yeah, kind of reminds me of back when we were in COVID times. You know, the airlines were canceling flights just days before departure because nobody was on them, right? So, but on a positive note, if you guys flip ahead to scheduled total seats, when it comes to overall airport, we're actually looking really good to close out the year. October's up 4.5%, November's up 7.8%, and December's up 7.1% compared to last year. So definitely being pushed up by our domestic capacity and increased flights. We have all the new service coming in for the domestic flights. So I think on the airport front, we're looking pretty good going into the season. I actually read a real estate blog a couple of days ago from a local real estate agency talking about the Airbnbs and short-term rentals and how, and Snowbirds talking about how a lot of people are worried, rightly so, because of Canadians not coming in. what they're noticing is that a lot of it's opening up capacity for Americans to come in and visit Palm Springs. They're still seeing demand build up for a lot of those. So maybe it's bringing tourists to Palm Springs to experience our destination. Maybe they'll start coming more often. So far, I know the Canadian portion doesn't look great, but overall picture, including domestic and Canadian seats, we're looking good to finish off the year. So I am optimistic.
Let's continue to track the Canadian stuff. Absolutely. The council is interested in learning, are we feeling the impact? And I think the good news overall, that's great to share. We'll continue to monitor and see.
Absolutely. Micro News, I'll bring you guys every month. So we're actually just FYI, we're actually providing this information to Chris Mooney and to Scott as well. I'll get that. Yeah. And then the next page over seasonal return updates. We just have a chart there that lists all the seasonal returns and the new service coming, so you can see what date they start, which airline, and which airport there. On the bottom, we have some additional updates on previous seasonal routes that are still returning. Delta, their JFK last year was Saturday only service. This year during the season they're at Wednesday, so Wednesday and Saturday on Delta to JFK. So an extra weekly flight. And then Alaska is going to return their Boise service 6 weeks earlier than last year, so starting January 7th instead of February 16th. So some additional service and season there. And then moving on to guest, unless anybody has any questions on your service, I'll go into my guest experience portion.
Okay, our service, everybody. Let's go.
Okay. The guest experience is something new we're doing. So the plan is complete. We'll be bringing that. I know I mentioned bringing it to you guys at this meeting, but due to some scheduling conflicts, we'll actually bring it to you guys. It isn't for we're going to have a presentation by PSM Square, the consultant, in the November commission meeting. They're going to talk about everything that went into it, all the research, and then talk about the final plan itself. But one of the recommendations that came out of it was expanding our navigator program. So we are going ahead and moving on that one. We're adding a new group of navigators called the roaming navigators. We'll be growing as an overall volunteer team by adding 20 navigators, going from 54 to 74 volunteers. We'll also be expanding the badging, so people going to be on the sterile side, and also adding new uniforms for higher visibility will be coming. We're getting some samples coming in right now. We're going to look at and make a decision on what we want to move forward with. I'll probably bring samples to you guys next month when we have, if you'd like to see them. We're going to expanding coverage of the secure area navigators. So we had previously had people in the courtyard. We had 14 shifts per week. We'll be going to 42 shifts per week. And how we're going to do that is we're going to add additional navigators. So we're going to have that information desk in the middle of the courtyard like we had last season. We're also going to have navigators stationed in the Agua Caliente concourse and the San Bono concourse, where they'll actually be actively walking around and looking for somebody with a question mark above their head and see if they need any assistance. And then each of those 3 navigators during their shifts back there will take turns every 30 minutes rotating and going between the courtyard, the center location, the Agua Caliente, or the San Bono section. So they'll be there. And so that's with the roaming navigators and our mobile assistance team. They'll still be present this year, and they're going to be active in ticketing lobby and the baggage claim. They'll also be working in the center terminal area, working with crowd flow, stanchion management, and just general guest support. The information desk, of course, will remain as it is. It'll be steady year round. And then we're adding a new volunteer training coordinator role with the navigators. And so we actually have some more long-term navigators are kind of I don't want to call them rock stars. They've been quite a long time. And so they're going to step up and be a training team for new navigators that we have coming on, that also just doing some recurring training for some of our existing volunteer navigators. So that's a new volunteer position we're going to be adding. Okay, any questions on that? Oh, one more thing. Just say, vote for PSP. We are up for USA Today's Reader's Choice Best Resort Airport. Voting is on October 6th. The winner will be announced on October 15th, and Jake created our own URL for voting, flypsp.com/vote. It redirects, takes you right to the USA Today page, so you can click vote for PSP. You can vote every single day if you want. Currently, we are in 12th place, so we need some votes. Spread them.
18 days left.
18 days. And that is the end of everything I had for you all. Any questions?
Questions? Anybody else?
Public, anyone from the public make a public comment? Anyone on Zoom, please raise your virtual Zoom hand. No public comments.
What's deciding something? No, thank you. Thank you. Okay, Jason, strategic plan.
Jason?
All right. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Nice and loud, please. Nice and loud.
All right. Let me get into our presentation here. All right. Can everybody see?
Yes.
Okay, so hey everyone, I am Jason Hodges, the Airport's Innovation and Strategic Administrator, and I'm excited to present my very first update on PSP FlightPath. Today's focus is going to be how we're carrying out our strategic plan, the framework, the tools, and the approach that we put in place. As most of you know, our strategic plan is pretty ambitious, covering 48 initiatives across 5 strategic priorities: people and culture, operational excellence, partnerships, infrastructure, and sustainability. With that much work ahead, we knew we needed a clear structure to guide us and make sure progress was steady. We have moved well beyond the planning stage, and work is underway. Already we're seeing some measurable outputs, real progress and momentum is building across our organization. So I'm going to walk you through a few of the ways that we're moving things forward with this plan. As most of you know, some of you are probably just asking yourself, what is the PSP FlightPath? And how does that tie to our strategic plan? Well, we wanted to make sure that the plan didn't just become another document with boxes to check off, and FlightPath is our way of bringing it to life and make sure that doesn't happen. So for us, FlightPath represents direction, consistency, and staying on course. By giving the strategic plan its own identity, it becomes something that staff can see, recognize, and talk about. Instead of just sitting on a shelf, it becomes part of our daily conversations. In the way that we connect with our goals. So once we had the FlightPath identity in place, the next steps was just making it visible for our stakeholders. So some of you should have received a sample of the PSP FlightPath swag along with your meeting packet today. And that logo has been applied to pins, hats, water bottles, luggage tags.
Jason, so sorry to interrupt. I think your slides are not going. If you're changing them.
Are we on the swag picture where it says bringing to life?
No, we're on the main one, the first one.
Okay, how about now?
Negative.
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing and then I'll reshare because it's going through on my end. Let me try it this way. Any luck there?
Fantastic.
We got it?
Yeah. So now it's on the summary of progress. Now it's on bringing it to life.
Okay, great. So we'll just start back there. We just wanted to kind of make it fun. So we came up with some swag items to really resonate with the team. And what's been fun about it so far is people are really, they want these items. Staff will come up and say, can I get one of those FlightPath pins? And of course, I always tell them yes, but you have to earn it. Because they're not meant for people that are not living with our mission, and we need to help drive our initiatives forward. So it kind of keeps it just lighthearted, but it also keeps FlightPath more than just a logo. It becomes something that people can be proud and be a part of. So for any commissioners that's joining virtually today, don't worry. I know that you probably have some FOMO that you didn't get the luggage tag, but Tanya has set some aside for everybody. So just get with her and she'll make sure that you get one.
Yeah, so Jason, so just everybody in front of you, you guys all have this luggage tag. Please represent our initiatives that we have going on here at PSP, especially with our strategic plan that you helped us approve, our 5-year strategic plan. We've been actively practicing it. Okay.
Yes,
sorry,
we
Jason.
have. Thank you for that. No, thank you. Just to make sure we're on the right slide, are we on the execution approach?
Yes.
Okay, great. So once we had the FlightPath identity in place, the next step was just really making it come to life. So we wanted to make sure that we had just a plan in action, and this was not just going to be some swag. So what we've done is we've divided the initiatives across the leadership team. So every leader has ownership. I meet regularly with each initiative owner one-on-one. We set timelines, responsibilities, action steps. The structure, it just is creating some accountability and ensures that our flat path is just always moving forward. So then to give you a brief overview of some of the tools that we have in place, we have created a dashboard. This is an interactive dashboard that is internal, and this brings all 48 initiatives into one place, and it provides real-time tracking so we can see exactly where each initiative stands at any given time. It also will highlight at-risks, so that just gives us a chance to address any challenges before they grow. And it just makes progress visible across the entire team so we see all the initiatives that we're working on together. And it became our single source of truth, creating some alignment, again, accountability, and confidence that Flat Path is staying on track. And, you know, Flat Path is just given our strategic plan some identity and some momentum. So just moving forward in a more meaningful way than just a checklist again. So staff is actively engaging the plan, and systems are in place to hold everybody accountable. So that is all I have, and I will open it up to some questions for you guys.
Questions?
Yes, sir.
So I have a question. I like the way it's spread and sected. I like the idea that we're tracking these 48 things. How are we as a commission supposed to keep track of all of this? For example, do we do a quarterly review of Fast Track? Because it probably is not practical to do this every single meeting, but what's your vision for how we as a commission check what's red, yellow, green in terms of how we move forward? Harry or Jason?
I'll briefly speak to that, then turn it over to Jason. So initially what we had committed was to bring an update to the commission every quarter, and then annually have a strategic plan review as well as a planning session for the next year. I think Jason has mostly adopted my mindset on that, but he has lots of ideas and a different vision. So I will turn it over to him to
go for it, Jason.
Yeah, so right now there is a monthly executive brief that goes out to Harry. So I give him an update on all the initiatives that we touched within the last month. So I am, alongside what Harry stated, the yearly and the quarterly updates, I am more than happy to also set some time and send out the monthly updates as well. We can talk through it internally and decide if there is a moment where we can give a quick update in the commission meetings, or if there can be another route of communication.
When do we hope to do our strategic planning meeting? Is it November?
I think we're shooting for October.
Yeah. So essentially what we would like to do is do a little bit of a longer meeting. I know our meetings kind of are already long sometimes, but a special meeting for us to go over some of the strategic initiatives that we have planned for the upcoming year with the commission, and just, you know, go over what that focus is for the next year. And we really want to use the strategic plan as our guide, right? You know, how we're going to be executing, you know, our projects and what we're doing. If an initiative is something as, you know, increasing guest satisfaction, you know, what does that really look like for us? You know, obviously right now, one would be the escalator elevator, right? That would definitely increase guest satisfaction. So, you know, we want to bring that to the commission, hopefully October, November timeframe, go through what our initiatives are, go through what projects we have planned, and then get some feedback from our commissioners on, you know, what you guys are looking for as it relates to our strategic initiatives. So we're working through that plan right now to, you know, when that date's going to be. We're trying to organize that, and we do look forward to getting with all the commissioners to review that.
We did past years, for those of you who knew, have a one-day strategic planning meeting where we went through exercises like this. I think it was in September. So let's take the time it needs. This is really the chance to do a deep dive in all these initiatives. And to the extent that we have to prioritize some investments or just where we resources, that's where we provide. So you'll let us know.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks, Jason. Anything else?
Yeah, the only thing I would add is, the strategic plan is such a framework for everything that we do. So you all did a great job when you decided these initiatives last year to kind of future-proof our work. So even now, some of the changes that we have incorporated is whenever we start any kind of project, we do have an intake form that we are starting with. And one of the questions on the intake form is what strategic pillar does your project align with? Because honestly, everything that we do in the airport can align to one of these 5 strategic priorities. So we're really thinking through it. And yeah, we are definitely working on that date and excited to share more whenever we get together.
That's great. That's great. Questions, commissioners, questions from the public?
Anyone on Zoom from the public wish to make a public comment? Please raise your virtual Zoom hand. No public comments.
Okay. Victoria, all I ask is that when we start to shape the agenda, let's work on this is great fodder for all of that. It's just how we're going to manage the time and all that. I'm happy to work on that.
Okay, thank you.
All right. HA, future council update. Victoria.
All right, so in your packet, and the very large packet that you have here in the very back, we have a few council items that are actually going to be going to the September 25th, which happens to be a Thursday city council meeting. It's a little different from the normal Wednesday. So Thursday, September 25th. The one that you recently voted to recommend to city council, the Spark Loft Media, that will be on the consent calendar. The professional services agreement with Pasley Management Group, the one that Paul Blue just did a presentation on that you recommended to council, that's going to go on the 25th as well. Also, replace the escalators and escalators. We're going to put that out to bid, of course, out of tomorrow's meeting with the city manager, Mr. Stiles. If we're able to move that up any quicker, we'll see what comes out of that meeting. The next 3 that you see on here are lease agreements. We have with our ground handlers, AGI and Dow Global Services, doing business as Unify. This is just doing a new agreement with them. They are tenants of our airport. They pay us a price per square foot, and we're taking that to council because that's what we do. We memorialize it every time it's about to expire. We keep them in, and they pay terminal rent to us, as well as a 7% commercial revenue fee to us based off of what they make off the airlines. And then you'll see Marshall Retail Group, WH Smith. There's a concession amendment number 1. We're adding the pink door and duty free. The pink door was originally conceptualized as a vending machine only, and then we worked with our ad hoc commission to come up with something that was more personable, giving hot coffee and making it more of like a travel convenience store. So we're just memorializing what we did there. And the same with our duty free. Our duty free is one thing that was in the request for proposal. It was supposed to be a little golf cart, but we've actually changed that location to the Bono area. So we're actually there's going to be a build out for it. So we're just making sure that, the space size and what is being included in that space is memorialized in the agreement. Nothing too fancy. And then lastly, you will see the comprehensive fee schedule that the city is putting there, and it might be on a business and legislative item, not a consent calendar item. This one will be available for the public for discussion. But the biggest piece of it is that we are proposing, I don't know some of you commissioners remember, but we voted to increase our parking daily rate from $20 a day to $26 a day. So we're presenting that to city council. We originally had presented it, but council had asked staff to come back at a later time. Now we're coming back at this later time. The reasoning why we need these public parking rates to increase, it's to help us with our capital improvement projects, and not just like the capital improvement projects that we have, like the escalators, the elevators, the baggage handling system, but even, making improvements to the parking lot itself, like being able to offer online reservations, something that we don't offer that other airports do, making it more, guest passenger friendly, and even putting in a new parking access revenue control system to be able to track our passenger numbers and potentially look to the future for maybe some type of dynamic pricing where when we don't have that much demand, we can fluctuate our rates versus when we do have a lot of demand, we can fluctuate our rates. Again, that would have to go to city council for those new rates to get it to be approved. But until we get that parking access revenue control system in place, we're proposing the $26 a day. So that one's going to be a big one, a big discussion item at council on the 25th.
So did we originally approve that? Did the commission approve that recommendation?
The commission voted to, it was actually, we proposed $24, but the commission said, hey, let's put it to $26 because that will bring us up to CPI over the years. Because I think it was the same for maybe 5 years. We had not changed it. So the commission did recommend.
We're going to need some air cover on this. So they had a huge agenda on the 25th. And I'm hoping that a bunch of this stuff, although I don't think this will wind up a consent, there's a huge agenda for them on the 25th. But I'll go to speak with this. If somebody pulls it off and puts it on the deal, I'll speak to this. Because I've had this conversation with
like Ontario, like $45. Close.
I want to say it was like 32 or something like that.
Yeah.
$30. Thank you, Jake. $30.
But do we have that in the staff report, the comparison? That's important.
In San Diego.
We do not have that in the staff report. I think because this is also the whole city that's going. And so I think it's just highlighting the whole city and not just the airport. So
that was my question. Are they presenting like the full 300-page?
They are
comprehensive.
Yeah.
Yes.
But to your point, Kevin, you could put, Ontario, Long Beach, Orange County, and San Diego.
Yeah, I wouldn't speak to it until it becomes an issue.
Yeah.
Well, it's been an issue before. So the reason that this was delayed is because one of the council people said he felt it was just too aggressive. And so heads up was in light of everything we're trying to do, we need, to your point, we need this revenue. And so now is the time to lean in, come back at and say, and these fees relative to other airports are not unreasonable. So we just need to get some speaking points to be prepared. It gets pulled off consent, which I think it may. That we have speaking points on this and details like that.
I don't know if Jeremy Hall would want to chime in on this. So when I was in my tenure, we had this item removed from the comprehensive fee schedule because it didn't fit the definition of we only charge what something costs for you. And so there was no inclusion of this item in the fee study, which was done by the consultant to calculate what the fee should be. And it was also discussed that this fit in line with the practice of many other airports too. They didn't have this item included. So I was a little surprised to see this come back into the fee schedule. And I don't know if you have any knowledge of how or when that happened. I don't.
It's been in the fee schedule since I think all of us.
Yeah, the last 5 years for sure.
So we'll have time here, but let's figure out how we're going to attack this in the meeting and whether there's certain speaking points you want us to take to council. Let's just I'll be at that meeting on another issue with council, So in anticipation of what I think some of the objections will be, let's figure out who's going to say what.
You're already on top of it. I think Mark is working on that right now.
But yes, we appreciate your support.
Okay, Jeremy, do you agree with my point that the rest of the comprehensive fee schedule has to follow legal requirements? You can't charge more than what something costs for you.
Yeah, there has to be a reasonable nexus. Otherwise, there could be a takings clause issue, or depending on the type of fee, an issue with the Mitigation Fee Act. I don't necessarily think that would be an issue here, especially if it's been vetted by finance, and we have other BBK attorneys helping out with every other city department as well. So they're not doing stuff just without any sort of legal guidance over there.
All good? All right. Let's sell the guns. Get done. All right. Anything else on that, Victoria?
Nothing further.
Christina, our working.
Anyone from the
Anybody else
public
want to
wish
speak
to
for
make a
Holland?
public comment? Anyone on Zoom, please raise your virtual Zoom hand. No public comments.
Okay. Christina.
I am excited to announce that we will be holding the Art Working Group Kickoff Meeting on Wednesday, September 24th. Admin, operations, security, and maintenance staff will be providing an airport tour for the Arts Creator Group Creative Services prior to the kickoff meeting to review the existing airport art and the locations that are available for the placement of art installations and murals. Our Curator Group Creative Services will also be meeting with Chairman Corcoran, Airport Commission Committee Chairs, which I'm reaching out to here real soon. Jay Barada, who's the Director of Housing and Community Development, and is also the Public Arts Commission Liaison. Gary Armstrong, the Public Arts Commission Chairman, and who is also on the Art Working Group. And Visit Greater Palm Springs, they'll be meeting with Scott White. They're going to be reaching out to him real soon also. Group Creative will be meeting with additional stakeholders and community art influencers based on the feedback they receive from the Art Working Group and the stakeholders that they are meeting with, and then they will proceed with those meetings as well.
And Tim and Christian are representatives on that group. I mentioned to Christina in my conversation with these folks, I'm going to suggest that some of the first people to meet is with the Airport Museum leadership team. We had a meeting with that yesterday on another issue. This whole idea of how to collaborate and how to work together with the city this came up, and we'll make sure that early in their process they're introduced to the key players in the museum, since they've been partners with us for years. So we'll make that happen as well.
Thank you.
Anything else? Any questions on this? Any questions in the public?
Anyone from the public on Zoom, please raise your virtual Zoom hand. No public comments.
Armin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Harman Singh, project manager, so I'll be providing capital improvement on the projects. I have 8 projects that I'll be giving some updates. The first one is the escalator. So with all the detailed discussion that we just had and the great ideas to expedite this project, so we'll keep the commission updated on this project. My second project on the list is the Major J project, which is a shade structure. Again, to this project, as the recommendations have come on Measure J, we'll keep the commission update. I just want to bring some visibility on another item on this shade structure, is that around mid-August, we had a kickoff meeting with InterVistas, who are on planning firm. So we are actually working with them on discussing framework of planning, sequencing, and how the next 2 to 5 years look like. When we talk about sequencing, how these projects are moving, how the land is being available. So we'll keep the commission update on that visibility too, as far as the cash flow and the sequences work. The third one is our big project, which is the outbound baggage handling. So as I shared last time also, on July 9th, the City Council has approved the contract with the general contractor, Swingerton. Also, in the meanwhile, we also have issued a task order to Mead and Hunt, who's will be our construction management firm. We're also finalizing contract with our tribal monitoring, because when we do the excavation, a lot of monitoring needs to happen. We are hoping to have this contract with the Swinton being executed in mid-September, but the team is already started engaging Mead and Hunt to have all those recurring meetings, with the general contractor and also with our team. We're also utilizing this time to make sure that, we are finding the right place. When the mobilization happens, we are expecting it to be around October, late October, November. and also the laydown area. So it's again 3 years multi-year project, but we are using all the time that we have from now till mobilization to make sure that all the teams are working towards that mobilization, and we'll keep the commission updates. The next is the design phase of our restroom. This is the designing of our Bono restroom and also the courtyard. In the courtyard, we are changing those stalls from men to women to all gender spaces. We are actually finalizing the first phase of our design, which is the concept design. We should be wrapping that design in September. We are proactively also shooting for completion the second stage, which is the schematic design, by end of October. So we are trying to save as much time as we can during design phase to just move the schedule. So we should be actually having that second phase, which is the schematic design, complete and ready for our review by late October. The next project is about another Measure J project, which is the mid-century furniture we have discussed. These were installed on August 13th. Got a lot of positive feedback on that, and as phase one of Measure J to Harry's proposal has been looked into, we'll put some more mid-century furniture around the Maxwell terminal. The next project is our 8 EV trucks. We are happy to say that the City Council has approved the contract on September 10th. We are working with the procurement to issue a notice to proceed, and we'll update you when the delivery of these trucks will be happening. So we're hoping in next 2-3 months we'll get them delivered. Right now I don't have the lead time for these trucks, but we're just ready to have that meeting with the dealership and the commission of when this delivery is happening. The next is our airport conference room remodel. This is where we are actually remodeling our conference room with new furniture. We are upgrading our AV equipment, soundproofing, and some other finishes. This project has little delays, and I'll explain what exactly happened. So when we were working on this project and we provided the drawings to the city permitting department, those were not stamped. At that time, on the first correction, they don't ask for the stamp drawing. The second correction, they asked for the stamp drawing because if you remember, we have double doors on our conference rooms. We are actually eliminating one door to have single doors on both entrances to add more space for public. So that has like one of our building and safety has some egress questions. So that's why we asked for some stamped drawings that pushed our project about 30 days. So now we are expecting this to be completed by first week of November. So far, the construction is going as scheduled. We started our construction around August 20th after the permit was approved. So we are on schedule to have this. If there's any way we can save or shave some schedule time, we'll be working on that. The last one is our EV charging station on Lot B. Just to give some background, in 2023, we applied for it's called a Charge Ready program with Edison. And at that program, we were able to get some discount towards our charging equipment, and also there will be some free upgrade to the infrastructure. So we were able to procure about 80 EV charging stations through LilyPad, a company. Those are with the airport already delivered. In this program right now, it's a 4-phase program. Currently, the general contractor of Edison is actually working in our Lot B. You can see the lot is being barricaded, and they're actually trenching and installing all those stub-ups for us to do. One of the other phase of this project is that Edison will bring the power from the street, which is Darkwards, all the way to the infrastructure area and the meter. And then finally, they will energize all those stub-ups. Our portion is the last phase of this project where our general contractor will install all those chargers that we have procured. We actually have the bids are posted earlier this month on September 2nd, and the bids are due on October 8th. So we are kindly be in line with when they are done, we will be having it. The project team is also working very closely with the land side. If we see an opportunity to open the lot, if there's like a 2 months or a month, waiting period, we'll work with that. What we have done is like originally when it was barricaded, our team did a walkthrough over there, and we were able to actually open at least 40 spaces because originally we had like more area barricaded, but once the area was shutting down, so we opened 40 to 44 spaces. So we'll keep monitoring that lot as we are moving progress into that. Right now, we are projecting to have it done hopefully by this December. The only piece we are missing is we don't have a bid schedule from the Edison to do 2 of their tasks. But we are having a weekly meeting with them. So any update that will come, we'll present it to the commission in the next meeting. But it's a good progress. And we are working very closely with our land side to make sure that it's a minimum nuisance to the public.
When these things are in, what do you pay for them?
when the charges are in.
Yeah, how much, do you have any sense of like, do you have to join one of those companies where you do charging companies, or how will people?
Referring to the airport or the passenger?
So when I go and I plug my car in, it's not free.
Right.
Okay. And then what's the company that we bill it to?
So we don't, that policy decision hasn't been made yet. In part, what we were thinking was building that into our parking fees. So somebody pulls a ticket when they come into the lot, they're able to hook up if they have an EV charger. And then they would pay what everybody else pays when they leave. And we would just build that into the parking fee structure to do cost recovery on that. So that's the thinking right now. But we're still working through some policy issues.
We'll get updates on that.
Yes, good. Just one thing I want to add to Harry's point is that when we purchase these charges, we also purchase 5 years of operations and maintenance from the OEM. So they will actually be responsible for maintaining and operating those charges for next 5 years, which is a beneficial to us.
That's great.
Quick question. These chargers, they for passengers or general public?
General public, if they want to park at the airport with the airport fees of the parking fees, they can park here.
If someone parks there, plug in and drive to Chicago for 3 days, the vehicle to stay there?
Well, the vehicle, the charges are very smart charges. So once it's already charged 100%, it will stop giving the juice to the car. As I said, it's first time we're going through this big footprints. Our team will work very closely on the operational side of it. There's a lot of questions. We will have the answers once these are installed. Their operation for 6 months will give us a better visibility to answer these questions. However, what we were told by the charging company that the chargers that we purchased, they are very smart chargers. They will have a portal that our staff can see how we are, and they will also like we can charge different prices at different times. So the options are unlimited. To answer that question, it will stop providing that juice, but we have to see how operationally we can make it more efficient.
True. I'm more concerned about them staying there and that no one else can park there to charge their car.
Yeah. So unfortunately, this is the case at all airports really when they have EV charging is because someone's flying out, their car does occupy that position for days. They don't turn over as quickly as you would stay downtown. But we are developing policy.
Yes.
Thank you.
I know with Tesla, once you charge, if you camp out, it keeps on ramping up the charges too. So there's a disincentive to leave it there and spot. Yeah.
How many charging stations?
There are 40 stations in total, 80 positions. So it's one side.
And at what speed is the charge?
It's level 2. Level 2 charging.
So that's 3.5 to 7.5.
That sounds about right.
Questions for Harmon? Any public? Anybody online?
Anyone from the public, please raise your virtual Zoom hand online. No public comments.
Any comments on the executive report? Harry, any highlights you want to share with that? Anything else? Color commentary on your report?
I'll just cover a couple of things. We talked about the outbound baggage handling system at length. Really, we're just waiting on the majority or so from the airlines, and that's sometime mid-October. The transitional space planning we spoke to a little bit, Measure J and Measure D discussion. The idea there is that while we're starting to implement the overall master plan, we're going to still address those areas and pain points that we're experiencing operationally and making sure that we're making those operational adjustments over time. Customs and Border Protection, FIS, I think the big news there is that our staff has a meeting with the port director in LA on the 24th of this month. This is going to be our initial pitch for that FIS. And so the fact that you all voted.
You got $1 million.
And
go sell.
Appreciate it. We can take as support.
Who is the port director now for LA?
It's in the interim director, so I can't remember his name. It was Cheryl Davies before. But there's a right now.
If you can get anything, if I know them, I can give you some information.
Appreciate it. Gary, I know that you put in correspondence on the rodent issue we are having with Los Consuelos. Any updates on how the remediation of that is going?
So we've been working ad nauseum with authorities on addressing that issue, resolving that issue, figuring out where all responsibilities lie and where priorities lie, and that. And there have been a number of things that have been happening behind the scenes. So we've ramped up a lot of our pest control efforts. There were some areas in the facility where we were seeing rodents or experiencing rodents, but we weren't necessarily seeing them. We now had a assessment done. Those areas have been identified. Those areas have been blocked or covered up to prevent rodent hazards. We've been working with Paradies and with airport staff on a cleaning plan to make sure that we're getting ahead of it over time. So we've been really good at partnering with Paradies on this. I don't know if you or Victoria have anything to add to that, but we're monitoring it. It seems like the issue is under control, but we're continuing to monitor it. The pest control.
Yes, I can speak on that. So absolutely, we're monitoring it. We're working with Paradies, and they even brought in their team. Ecolab, we're working with the maintenance team. Jeremy took this one and made sure trees were trimmed out, because apparently that was a thing with pests. Make sure everything was cleaned up around the area. Maintenance team is even working on relocating the dumpsters to a new location so that they won't be very close to the food. So a lot of efforts, a lot of mitigation that is happening, and it's continuous. So it's not even something that's just a Paradies problem. It's a whole airport problem, and not just the airport, internal staff, but all of our ground handlers, our airlines, our tenants, our rental cars. We have to be very mindful. We're really preaching, clean up your space. If you see something, say something. So we're attacking it at all levels.
Questions on the executive report? Questions on that or any other issue?
No, I have a comment.
Please.
Staker did a great job yesterday at our city council meeting. Thank you for that. A lot of times people throughout the valley don't necessarily hear the economic impact report. What comes out of here, the residents here do, and then however they get to outside. So we wanted to make sure that we did something at the council meeting to obviously get the other council members up to speed on what's going on as well with that, but to also kind of promote it as part of, we just hired an economic development manager. So I'm sure that she'll be kind of involved a little bit more in some of those aspects as well. But it's a great presentation. So thank you.
Okay. Wiseman has a question. I'm trying to promote him again. Kevin? Kevin, I just saw there. You could join.
He's in his car.
Oh. Kevin, did you have a question?
No, he's in his car.
Oh.
All right. Great. Thank you, Joe.
Going back to topics. Question was just related to the new electric vehicle charging. I'm just wondering if the airport fire station is in the process of assessing needs for additional equipment they might need, considering that there'll be an elevated risk of electric battery fires.
I didn't catch all of it.
So with the 80 stations, have you considered the potential impact of battery fires? And have you had any discussions internally with our fire support people about that potential?
We have had discussions with the fire department about that. They are aware and they feel like they're prepared for it. We actually had a safety risk assessment done. We'll have a safety risk assessment done on that, led by our safety manager, Josue. So yes, those discussions are being had.
All right. Any other comments on executive reports? Any other requests of commissioners? Please.
I had raised a question a few weeks ago from a constituent about what happened to the sign that blew right up Hurricane Hilda, the airport sign. I guess it's GNOC and a constituent asked what happened to the sign. I'm just asking the question about
what happened to the sign.
I can briefly to that. So during that hurricane, that sign got uprooted. Well, as we were trying to reinstall it, because it's so heavy, it basically tore apart. So we had to remove it. We wanted to replace it, and I think at one point in our budget 2 years ago, we had recommended funds to replace it, but those funds needed to go to the baggage handling system. So now it's a project on our list, but it's very, very low on our list.
Thank you.
And just a reminder, the noise committee and airport commission meeting will be taking place at a different location. It's going to be at the Dubuque Park in October. This room is available. So, and other locations are unavailable, so it'll be located there.
And Christina, we do our strategic plan. Are you there? Strategic planning meeting. That will also be at another
Wait,
location.
oh, me, Victoria?
I'm sorry, Victoria. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Good to see you behind.
I was like, she's over there.
She's still here. Oh, she's over there.
Victoria. Oh, yeah.
Will those be separate meetings? The commission meeting and our strategic planning meeting, or we?
That would be the intent, yes.
Okay, and they'll be at another location to be decided.
Correct, yes.
Okay, good.
Regarding, whenever you have a budget and finance, subcommittee, I would hope that we'll start to see some pro forma, estimated budget figures, at least for your 2-year budget. And I think it's important for that information to start being in the record too, so the public has access to see that. Because we're starting to make some bigger decisions regarding money. And I think we're all, a little uncomfortable, moving the big dollar amounts, not knowing where's the money coming from. So something where we see projects that say, here's the funding source, either it's a revenue source or fund balance source, or some combination. That would be helpful for us.
Ken, did you have a point of view when you want to have your next budget?
As soon as possible. In fact, I will give Victoria a call tomorrow.
Fantastic.
The second thing I would request that we be able to get some information on is regarding your financing team. We know that requires several different players, and if you're going to be doing bonding, you would need a bond attorney, and as well as a disclosure attorney. And sometimes that is combined into one firm, as well as whatever financial consultant you're recommending, and addressing the PPP aspect. Also, I think we kind of need to get our arms around this as a plan. And I think it's good, even when you're not ready to finance, to get these people contraction in place, get through this selection process, the procurement process. And I like having, those folks start participating in these meetings, because, when you're going to go out and live, you want to take as many friends out there with you as you can. And just to have the experts in that field available and be kind of part of the team before we really start rolling on spending capital, I think it really is a good investment.
So we actually do have those contracts already in place, and they're working. We actually meet with them weekly.
Good.
Both on the attorney side and the finance side.
So it might be appropriate for either that meeting or a future one to start bringing those people out.
So I understand that you do have an FA, financial advisor, that was selected. I guess it was selected a year ago.
About a year and a half ago.
So when I was not on the commission during my break, and we had bond council, the city had bond council, which I'm sure want to step up and be in charge of this. And you're right, and that would also include part of writing the disclosure agreement. The underwriters are also going to want the underwriters council to basically produce a disclosure agreement. The issue is whether you hire investment bankers. Traditionally, the firm has had one firm do all of its work. been a long history with that particular firm. And I think it's an opportunity for us to recommend to the city that we have our own investment banking team, and also that it include, we're a majority minority, however you want to classify GLBT people, but I mean, we're a diverse community. I think that we need an investment banking team that also represents that diversity. The previous investment banker, I mean, former head of public finances at my house right now, always Frankfurt grad school. They did a good job, but I think we should go through, this commission should go through, work with the city to get our own team that is specialized in airport financing, specialized. We go the route of a PPP, or we go the route with design build. All these are going to require different approaches, and I think we need that advice now, not later.
I agree with that. And it's not only the magnitude of projects, but the complexity of them and the unique aspects with the federal funding aspects of it. I mean, it's a whole ball of wax. It's different than what this city's dealt with for a long time. And so yeah, I agree. It's a whole different, more robust, comprehensive plan that fits the needs of the city. And it's going to be, it need to be in place for a long time. I think you have an understanding that aside from aspect of the underwriting, that can be more as needed, you know, after burning dollars for, but the rest of it, it's good to have that whole team in place and participating in the process.
I slightly disagree with you. I think it's important to have the underwriter persons issuing the bonds help you, offering you advice during the process, because one of their responsibilities is to give you a transaction at the lowest and best interest rate. That's why you're hiring Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan or whoever you do. And you're going to be paying them a lot of money. So I think we should utilize their expertise.
Would this be a good discussion to have at the budget and finance committee?
Absolutely, and bring it to the commission with a recommendation.
I think with your
yeah. I think before we continue on this one, I would recommend, you know, it going to budget and finance or potentially being agendized at a future commission meeting before we go too far down the rabbit hole here.
So let's agree that we're going to have a budget meeting sooner than later. Let's get to it. We will. Okay. All right. All right. Speaking of subcommittees, thank you all for your input. I hope you got, Todd and I worked on, based on your recommendations, I hope you got what you wanted. Those of you who are chair of committees, we try to make that your only responsibility because a lot of heavy lifting and running these subcommittees. The only addition I would make is Tracy Martin, we're adding to the ad hoc design committee. We ran out of spots in operations. So Tracy, you'll be joining us on concessions and long range plan on that. And again, if there's any other changes or thoughts, let us know. But thank you for your input. We hope we put the right people in the right spots, and we'll continue to tweak this if needed. And is there anything else anyone wants to say before we wrap this up? So just some final comments. We made a lot of progress today. I mean, the Measure J, to land all that stuff and give you direction and start spending that money, I think that's great. And we can help. We are here to help to fast track this through Measure J in October, so we don't miss a beat. And I don't think they're going to resist any of it. So I would start on some of the procurement things for like the seating. That's going to be a big win for us in getting that done. So encourage you to lean into those investments. We're pretty confident we can Measure J to adopt this and say yes to it. And we'll see what comes out of tomorrow's Come to Jesus meeting with our procurement folks. Again, the faster we can move, the better. I know we're all trying really hard. So thank you, commissioners, for your time and effort. Thank you, staff, for the preparation. And we'll be back in October, and then Victoria will be back on our strategic planning meeting as well. We'll socialize those dates, make sure everybody can participate, because that's going to be an important meeting for us as well. With anything else, ready to adjourn? Jeremy, can we adjourn?
Yeah, it's always confusing with which Jeremy. So you're good.
The lawyers say yes. Thank you all. Have a good night.